Good morning! Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show. I'm David Late, otherwise known as D-Late for Prez, a.k.a. D-Late for Prez. That guy. It's me. And we are broadcasting on my channel this morning. Yes. Because we come together in a form like Voltron, I have two of my battle cats with me today. That will be Kyle Phillips of The Media Is Here. Kyle, how are you doing?
Wonderful, D-Like. Thanks for having me on. That's superhero-y music.
For sure, it's totally Voltron. We are also joined today by Battle Cat number 2, my left arm, Sam, I.B. the Ganji of The Correct View.
Master Cat number 2. Master
And the band Passing Times?
Cats and Passing Time. Yes, I'd like to say greetings, unsettled souls, and dedicating tonight's show to Shirley DeGangi, all well-wishers and prayers appreciated. Guys, we have a full show tonight. What all do you have for us, D-Lake?
Sam, thank you for joining the show. You got a phone call right before we went live. And our prayers do go out to your mom from themediaspeaks.com, David Lake, Kyle Phillips.
Thank you for the
I've seen other fans in
So what's up?
On Facebook. And Sam, can we also get into your computer and what's going on? Because you sound really clear and crisp today, and I think you're using a different computer, and you sound great. Can you talk about that?
I'll be locked. This isn't even a computer; it's an abacus. My girlfriend Christelle has the behind-the-scenes queen. For those of you that watch, the computer is very, very old. It's a Dell. I don't even know what the specs are on this dinosaur, but the gentleman that fixes our computers, no matter what problem you give him, he'll fix it for like $20. I've only seen like one computer that he can't fix. The reason D-Like asked me to tell this story is mine got juiced, for those of you that don't know, by the TSA. Now, I've taken computers. I'm sure everyone listening has taken their onto an airplane.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does it mean? Yeah.
And it juiced it, so now the computer doesn't turn on at all. So I've taken it to Adrian, our fix-it guy, but that's friends. When they tell you to put your computer through that little don't worry, it won't hurt it. Yeah, I've flown before. Guess what? It didn't hurt it. This time it did. It wouldn't even turn on. It gave me nothing but a blinking white underscore line on the upper left side of the screen. So that's not a good sign. It's the
okay.
Black screen of death.
Yeah, black screen of death. Great. Thank you, TSA. Wonderful. Great, Sam. I'm so happy the TSA took such good care of you.
They did give me a little love, though, because I opted out of the poison radiation.
I have to say, though, I'm kind of happy that your computer got destroyed by the TSA, because this ancient Dell seems to be 100 times better.
Well, the other one's is getting totally refurbished and given back to me again, hopefully. Because this one is real glitchy. You kind of look like you aren't moving as a robot.
Yeah, they're scraping the rust off it, putting some steel wool to it. They're gonna put some new oil in the mechanical mechanisms of it. Put some new paint on. It's gonna be great.
All right, great guys. Wonderful way to start the show. Looks like our viewers are back. The Q&A is also open today, and we already have one question. Is this show 15 minutes, says Bo? No, this show is going to be longer than 15 minutes because, like Voltron, we totally hook our shit up so that, the show just keeps going and going. You guys can't hear that. All right, today we're going to talk about Ferguson, Missouri update. If you see today's headline, we're going to talk about Ferguson, Missouri update, ISIS threat to the United States of America, Foley's beheading, Sam's science news, and much, much more. Kyle, did you know that Dorian Johnson witnessed in Michael Brown shooting, who we covered his interview last week on the show? Well, now in the past week, he says, no, Big Mike did actually get into an altercation when the door ricocheted off of them when the cop tried to open the door. And Big Mike actually also did go for the officer's gun. All shots, according to the autopsy, were from the front. Big Mike tried to charge the cop after trying to run away. Somehow Dorian escaped. Dorian is actually real quick, Sam. Dorian is actually in the surveillance video from the QuickTime Mart where they robbed the Blunts as Big Mike's accomplice.
Yes. But
Okay,
I did
Sam,
not know that. I did not know that Dorian has now admitted that he had lied. That is interesting.
He's recanting. The word lie hasn't really been used. And I said last week that it didn't sound like he was lying, but it did sort of sound like he didn't fill in all the gaps of the story. Sam,
I said I thought he was full of shit. I'm gonna hold to that. I did say I don't think that he's a credible witness.
and Kyle, also throw your hands in the air and get down has become a national slogan. One of the photographers and news media personalities, let me go to my screen, Kyle, Time and Business Week's journalist covering the crisis in Ferguson, he chose these stark images. Put your hands in the air and get down. Okay? Scott Olson, who took the photographs, this photograph here, Time magazine cover, put your hands in the air and get down. And also Business Week, put your hands in the air and get down. Little girl, little black girl. Okay? This guy was arrested trying to cover the story. He was arrested by the militarized police. And thank you for letting me host the show today, Kyle, but I really want to get you and Sam's opinions on this, and thanks again, you guys, for joining me. Kyle, go ahead.
No, yeah, well, I mean, I've been, with the whole thing going on there's a lot more information that's been coming out, and obviously we're seeing two things, that this police department is very, very aggressive, and that the initial situation did not go down how we were told. So it's hard for a lot of people to understand that not everything is one side or the other, left or right, black or white, literally in this case. That, as from what we've seen, it looks to me, and I'm the first to call out police when they're doing a shitty job on something or when they're abusing people's rights, but it seems to me with the information that we have that this officer acted completely properly in the situation, at least from what I've seen. I've been talking to a lot of police about this, and they have different views about the protests and the way that they've been using their militarized police force, bringing in, these Bearcat vehicles and sniper rifles. And, of course, they're going to, because they're the guys who are in the line of this. And the guys that I do talk to, by the way, these officers, they have to deal with a very, very ghetto part of the town that I work in. And they've dealt with riots. They've dealt with people outside of the police department demanding an officer be sent out and all this. But I think that there's a better way to do it. But it's interesting to me that even though all this new information is coming out showing that this wasn't a good guy. This wasn't a 14-year-old kid. He was 18, 6'4", 300 pounds. He just robbed a place. He was probably on some sort of drugs aside from weed. He was everything that comes out, it almost makes the protesters more mad, like they don't want to admit that maybe this wasn't the thing to protest.
Yeah, and Trayvon Martin's legal team rolls into town to help defend the case. This week, Eric Holder goes there to say he remembers the time he got pulled over for being black on the New Jersey Turnpike. Look, I've gotten pulled over on my car too, and I'm way whiter than you, Eric Holder. And the cops,
it would be easy to
my vehicle as well. Hey, Eric Holder, you didn't mention how you were driving. Probably drunk and erratic, you fucker. Sam, what are your opinions about what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri there, because you did a great live show this week with a lot of op-ed and opinion about the latest updated news, and can we hear some of that from you there, correct views?
Thank you, D-Lake. I was saying the whole time that the mess that we're looking at here, unfortunately, is revolving around whether or not he was unarmed or this or that. And people are ignoring the fact that he was robbing a convenience store. He likely attacked a cop. But the biggest travesty that's developed in my mind since I did that report is...
Well, that's what Dorian's recantation of the story is that, yeah, he actually did attack the cop. He went for his gun. Big Mike went for the cop's gun. He had, and it's reported he had a fractured eye socket. And it wasn't quite as innocent as put your hands in the air and get down. And I posted this week that we're now free to auto-tune that, Kyle. But Sam, continue.
Well, what bothers me the most is that what you guys I mentioned earlier, the rebellion that we need to see, the protest that we needed to see, something that we needed to see that was a sign that the inner city is facing injustices, and the fact that maybe we need to unify on something, at least even if it's just the black community unifying, that they in many ways I wouldn't say the black community, but the poor community in general is being hosed. That's more accurate. It bothers me greatly that it's wasted on something that isn't real. That's what Kyle had said a second ago. That's what's bothering me the most, because all of this has been wasted on the basis for the argument now is false, and it makes the argument look false, and that is the biggest travesty in my opinion.
Well. So how do you feel about the cover of Time magazine, the PSYOP being all Americans get down on your knees and put your hands in the air? Here comes the militarized police state, the tragedy of Ferguson.
And that's the bigger problem here is, in fact, that now we're looking at the militarization of the police as something trendy and cool. They'll be selling more little toys that are, police with tanks and things like that. This has been a step in a bad direction for that reason as well. That's two reasons that this has just been an American nightmare.
Can I pose a different side of this, though, and why these protesters might have some legitimacy to what they're doing and why they're still out there protesting? Now, let's say that you're a black guy who lives in Ferguson, Missouri, right? Or let's say that you're a black mom. You're a black mom with 2 sons, and one of your sons... Yeah, and let's say that your sons, you've raised them right, they're doing good, they're going to school, they're good kids. And every other day, it's like one of your sons gets, thrown onto the hood of a police car, searched for no reason. They don't find anything. They send him on his way. Your other son gets pulled over for no reason, so they find some bullshit thing like, oh, your registration's out or your headlight or something. Constantly getting tickets, constantly dealing with an asshole police department, which we know that this police department is definitely aggressive and doesn't handle situations well. You try and go to the media, they don't listen, they go, oh, well, we don't have proof, you don't have any evidence that this is what you said it was. You're constantly dealing with harassment, you're constantly dealing with crime that doesn't get solved, and then this kid gets shot. Whether this kid was a good character or not, whether this is somebody who is worthy of protesting over or not, he represents all the injustice done to you by a corrupt police department. So is that an acceptable reason to be on the streets?
Was he good at basketball or football? Was he good at strong-arm robbery? I mean, was he good at jaywalking in the street with his accomplice, Darian Johnson, who tells us one thing, and then it turns into another thing?
But here's what I'm saying. This police department, we agree they've been handling these protests horribly, right? Which shows that they're probably an undertrained, aggressive police force is what I've gotten from it. And if you live in this town with this aggressive police force, whether this kid, adult who got shot is worthy of the sentiment that's going towards him and the protesters doing it in his name or not, I could see a lot of people making the argument that this isn't about him. This is about this police department, and he was a catalyst for them to get all their anger out through.
Right, and last week, Bo mentioned that the officer, Darren Wilson, or what's his last name? Olson? I can't remember. I don't have it off the top of my head. The officer involved in the case, right?
Darren Wilson, yes.
The guy's only like a 28. Like Bo was saying, he's a 6-year veteran. He started in his early 20s.
Well, do you know?
I mean, the guy he's like 26, 20. The guy is a young guy.
Well, most people in the police do start off fairly young, and one
No,
thing that
yeah, no, I
hasn't been.
totally get that, dude. I mean, I grew up with guys that wanted to be cops when we were little kids playing guns at the
Yeah,
park. Back when we had
for sure.
guns without the red tips. I mean, even I had a fucking Uzi. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. And like, I was always the bad guy because everyone else in the neighborhood wanted to be the cops. And my
No.
friend actually became a fucking cop. Like, I was in junior college, and he was there in his cop uniform. So I get exactly what you're saying, Kyle. Yeah, it starts at a young age. They start buying pretty hairy replica guns at a young age, too.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, this guy was given accommodation too. He was given like a medal, like a few weeks before this.
Okay. D-Lake and Kyle, imagine if instead of Al Sharpton or instead of Jesse Jackson, to quote Rush, how would this have turned out if we had somebody like Walter Williams or Bill Cosby doing not the narrative, but being the one to explain, hey, what we're angry about is this, this, and this. Even if the Michael Brown incident isn't what it appears. What if they had if you don't know who Walter E. Williams is, look him up. He's probably one of the best speakers who I've ever heard in my life. I've said repeatedly I would vote for the man for president if he ever ran, but he's getting old now. He is simply astounding. What if he was the black leader that we were listening to? He could really unify this into something special. And the whole time that this has been going on, I had wished that Walter Williams had been where Al Sharpton was.
Okay, well, who's the black guy with the megaphone on the videos that we see inciting the protesters? I mean, get that guy.
Jakari Jackson.
It wasn't Jakari Jackson. I verified that in the super awesome video that is posted on the channel, where this video will be totally chopped up, so let's keep our segments tight today. Anyways, skipping forward, fast forwarding to actually, before we skip forward, and I can remix this later, and it's on my channel, so I'm just going to do it how I want to do it. Kyle, can you go back and rewind a little bit and just tell us a little bit more about when you were talking to certain police officers in your area in Illinois and asking them questions about what was going on in Ferguson, Missouri, what was some of the feedback that you got?
A lot of the feedback I got was saying, well, hey, you have to nip these things in the bud. You have to be aggressive like this to show that you're not fucking around and that you're not going to tolerate violence. And saying, well, if they didn't have Bearcat vehicles and if they didn't have snipers and stuff, what would they do? And kind of their argument was that people like to complain about stuff like this until you actually need it. And my argument was, well, do you really need it? How did we deal with stuff like this, as lately as 20, 30 years ago, before we had this police militarization, before we had these measures put in place where they could get military vehicles and military equipment, and they kind of come back on that. And what I say is, because we live so close to Chicago, and everybody around here knows how the NATO protests once. There were 10,000 people at the NATO protests, and I say to them, look at how Chicago handled the NATO protests. There wasn't any violence. The police did their job. Nobody's saying that when a few thousand people gather on the streets to protest something, I don't think anybody's saying the police shouldn't be there. I want the police there. I want them maintaining order and making sure everybody's safe and nobody's getting hurt. But that's not what we're seeing. We saw that at NATO. At NATO, we saw them there to maintain order and make sure that it was a safely conducted protest. But we're not seeing that in Ferguson.
You know who else I feel for? You want to know who the victim in this story is? The poor convenience store owner. The first of all got robbed and then got his business burnt down for doing, you want to talk about innocence, for doing nothing. Nothing wrong. Being a great American, doing nothing wrong.
Samuel, great point. Excellent point. This was a local story in St. Louis. And I mean, when was the last time the Cardinals won anything, or we cared about St. Louis, or we knew the name Ferguson, or anything like that? Because I don't live there. I don't know about you guys. Don't really know that area. Can't remember the last time it was in the news. Well, the past couple of weeks it's been totally in the news because a local story based on an eyewitness interview from Dorian Johnson, who said he put his hands in the air, get down, was shot multiple times, shot in the back. The door ricocheted off us. All that shit turns out to be like Big Mike actually punched the guy, broke his eye socket, went for his gun. Cop said, "You're going for my gun, I'm going to shoot." He shoots. He gets shot once. Guy starts running. Other video comes out of people that were in that hood that were recording video, and it's two people talking. You can hear them on the audio, and they're like, yeah, a guy started running, then he turned back, started charging at the cop like an animal after he already went for his gun. Cop still had the gun, maintained the gun. He's like a 26, 28-year-old officer, 6 years on the force, started young. We've talked about all that. The night that he robbed the store, well, on Sunday night, they had a vigil. That vigil turned into a riot. The local story turned into a national story. All the news media started heading there. The local police and the militarized police zone started attacking the reporters. Tear gas was launched. That's against the Geneva Convention. The DHS is stalking with hollow point tip bullets, also against the war crimes of the Geneva Convention. This week, another gentleman was shot after he stole 2 cans of soda, put the 2 cans of soda on the side of a sidewalk. 2 cops roll up. He rolls up on the cops. He starts getting in an elevated position, starts moving closer and closer. He's not following instructions. He's not getting down. We can't tase the gentleman. No, we have to shoot him over 5 times. No blood comes out on the video. They roll the guy over when he's presumably dead, shot 6 times, all from the front, and they handcuff a basically dead gentleman. It sounds like shit that goes on in LA all the time.
D-Lake, let me go ahead real quick, too. I want to interject this because I don't hear enough people saying it. They're making it, just hear me out, people. They're making it so that you watch the news, and yeah, that thug got what he deserved. He got what he deserved. And then a little bit later, it's, well, you know, maybe 6 months, a year from now, it's, well, you know, that guy didn't really look like a thug to me. It just looked like some guy with his kid. But whatever the police said, you know, this little imaginary story, this guy, he must have deserved it. And then sooner or later, it's more and more infringements, and a generation from now, when they shoot somebody for mouthing off at a cop, it no longer looks unusual because you keep taking those steps in that direction.
Shut your fucking mouth off to a cop. No, I get what you're saying completely. We need to keep it within reason that when you see somebody who, you know what, he might be a thug, he might be somebody that you don't want in your neighborhood, he might be somebody who's sketchy and you don't want around your kids, and he might have stolen 2 fucking pops from a convenience store, which I'm in that business. I hate people like that more than anybody, so I can speak on this. But when you look at that and you get shot, we need to keep everything within reason. And with all those things considered and all of those things probably being true, he still didn't deserve to get shot. He deserved to be arrested.
They could have tased him.
Yeah.
Michael Brown may have deserved to be shot. I don't know. You know, the facts aren't in, but it's appearing that way.
There's surprisingly a lot of...
This man could have been tasered. This man could have been tasered. It was ridiculous to shoot this man.
Exactly. Yeah. There's plenty of police incident cases where people died from gunshot wounds where the situation probably could have been better handled by a taser, but then there's also stories of people dying from taser. Cops aren't doctors. They don't know your heart rate and all that when they tase you. So that happens as well. Don't tase me, bro, is a popular story.
And can I say, too, just like on this idea that, all right, well, we don't want cops just shooting people over fucking pops.
They took don't tase me, bro, to don't shoot me, bro. Like, I'm on the ground with on my knees with my hands in the air, Time Magazine front fucking cover. They want all of America to submit.
They elevated the situation, but here's the thing, and I think it has to do with training and the people that we put in law enforcement, because number one, the way that we train police it's very, very different than it used to be, and the way that we used to train police was better. It was more of a serve and protect, not fucking pull your gun and be aggressive on people. So we need to change... But wait, we need to change the way that we train the police and how they interact with the community, and at the same time, and people might not like me saying it, but it's the hard, cold truth, I don't want fucking little 5'1", 100-pound dudes. I don't want, like, skinny, like non-muscular females. I want big 6'5", 300-pound motherfuckers as the police. Not because I want them to be aggressive, but I want them to be big enough and tough enough that they know that they don't have to be. Because when you're a skinny little 5'1", 120-pound dude up against a guy who's maybe 200, 300 pounds, your only means of defense goes directly to your weapon, whether it be a taser, whether it be a gun. The bigger the dude, I really think the less incidents of violence you're going to see. You need people who don't feel nearly as threatened in those situations.
And we have to remember
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Kyle. And since I'm hosting the show today, Sam, if you'll give me this opportunity to disagree with Kyle. First of all, step number 1: increase the IQ for police. Okay. Look, I don't care how big a motherfucker is. I care how smart a motherfucker is. Okay. That's first of all. The reason that these guys are so big and Kyle wants them big, that's pretty funny, is because of steroids and your brain and your mind. And I want all these cops tested for steroids, regular or legal testosterone. I'm good with that. Iodine, I'm good with that. Weed, I'm good with that. Cocaine, not so good with that. Heroin
you can't
or
have
other hard drugs,
on coke.
not good with that as well. Cops involved in that, get them off the force. Look, I want our police force in tip-top shape. But tip-top shape doesn't mean MRAPs and looking like an army. Okay, over here we have the police, and over here we have the army. Sam, go ahead.
I think it's also important to remember that I think a lot of this stems from the gentleman that wasn't even bothering anybody. Supposedly they said he was selling cigarettes. And they choked the man to death when you're not even allowed to put someone in a chokehold. They choked him to death. That was a man who didn't do anything wrong and got killed for no reason whatsoever.
Well, he averted the tax system. I agree with you. He didn't do anything wrong. But he did break a law. But I'm okay with him breaking that law. In fact, I don't like that law.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We need more people doing so.
Guy's a hero. And just on the note, you called that man a gentleman, which I don't disagree. But I'm tired of hearing about accounts of, robbers and, people that you should be on the lookout for, and they call him a gentleman. The gentleman who murdered his wife. Can we knock that off as a society? I think gentleman should be a word reserved for good people.
Yeah, but nigger's not really allowed on the air.
No, you can't say that. Well, N-I-G-G-A, depending on what network you're on,
nigga.
You can say it differently. On BET, I think you get away with it.
I try to be respectful in my reporting, Kyle. That's all I can tell you.
Sure. Well, I don't think we need to call murderers and thugs gentlemen. I think it should be reserved for good people.
I never called
the cigarette guy.
No, yeah, he's okay. He's a gentleman. That one's okay. It just reminded me of this. I've read so many reports.
Are you sick of hearing Michael Brown referred to as a teen?
Game, gentlemen,
yes or no?
Yes, I am so angry. Yeah, he's not a teen. He's 18. When I was 18, nobody was calling me a teen. They were like, "You're an adult now. You need to pay bills. You need to take care of yourself." Nobody was calling me a teen. Fuck off. You're an adult. Sorry, not to fucking rob convenience stores.
You're supposed to be a gentleman, but robbing that convenience store might have canceled that.
Yeah, you're no longer a gentleman. Now you're a thug. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean I think you should be dead. I wish that situation could have happened differently, but you are not a gentleman.
I'd like to stress that for anyone watching. All of us do definitely wish that had ended differently.
All right, we're all getting amped up. We're all getting a little too crazy. It's time to shift gears, keep this show segmented so we can break it up and put pieces of the Voltron onto our main channel, themediaspeaks.com, since we are not in good standing with YouTube right now on that particular channel, but we're not going to talk about it. Okay, let's shift gears to ISIS threat to the United States of America. Kyle, ISIS. Did you know the preferred nomenclature in the White House is ISIL? Obama always says ISIL.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, ISIL is the second one. ISIL. I'm Barack Obama, and I would like to say that we need to deal with ISIL. And some people call it ISIS.
I refuse to call them ISIS. I think we just rebranded Al Qaeda because people were getting tired of fighting them.
Listen, I heard a caller.
Yes, there's a lot of truth in that, Kyle.
I heard a caller call into InfoWars yesterday talking about the word ISIS, and I as the letter 9, and S is the letter 19. And when you stack the words on top of each other, it forms 9/11 over 4 times.
That's weird. That's like
And
numerology stuff. I don't buy
yeah,
into that.
it's a bunch of New World Order globalist inside speak, inside talk, code, baby code for another 9/11 terrorist attack. And they've been this past week just totally pumping up the ISIS crisis and the beheading of James Foley, a news reporter. I have a video that I'd like to set up to play while you guys are, and I don't think it's going to infringe any copyright, but if
You're not going to get a
you guys
strike
wanna
on this
fill in-
account?
Yeah, I'm not going to get a strike on this.
And I was in a discussion. I think it was in an Infowars or Prison Planet comment line. I had a discussion where I was talking about just this being the absolute epitome of evil. Like, all of us have done things that we're like, man, I'm a terrible person. And then you look at these animals, and somebody put down, where it was the American evil taxes, that paid for them or funded. This, while we all painfully, sadly know it's true, think about it. Do you know anybody that's that evil that just because they had money, they're just as evil if we would have never funded them? The point is it lost. The point is, in order that you would want to do this if you were funded, makes you still one of the most evil, vile people that have walked in recent history. I'm sorry. That's just painfully obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, I keep looking at, like, every time that they do something, like, D-Lake was talking about this journalist who got beheaded, and, like, what does the guy say? Do you have the video? Were you going to play it, D-Lake? Where he gives the speech? Okay, before you play this...
Actually, Kyle, that video is pretty much gone and deleted everywhere, and the Scotland Yard police and the excuse me, they
don't even show him being beheaded in the video.
UK police, they say just according to Paul Joseph Watson, PJ Dub of Prison Planet and Infowars.com, says that just watching the video, you could be a terrorist.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But I mean, the video, if I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. The guy before it, like, they make him give a little speech before he's beheaded, and the guy gives a little speech who's about to cut his head off as well. And pretty much the speech says, "We're tired of the United States fucking with our shit. Leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone." That's pretty much what he says. But we're led to believe, oh, it's about terrorism and it's about our freedoms. They hate our freedoms. Like, fuck that. No, they hate us because we keep fucking with them. I think we need to just leave them alone, and people are like, oh, that's horrible. People will die. People are already dying. I just don't want them to be Americans or British or fucking French. Let's leave them alone.
I wasn't against the humanitarian food drop that was being given to them, because the Christians was there before the Islamists were. They've been there for 2,000 years.
What about the Yazidis?
They were the first. The first Christians were in that area long before the Muslims were there. So to take that city from them was the equivalent of what we did to the Indians. It was insane. They were there way.
Sure, the equivalent of what the equivalent of what the British did to the Irish, the equivalent of what Germany tried to do to the entire world, the equivalent of shit that's been happening forever, and it's none of our business. I don't want Americans in there. I don't want American tax dollars. Let them figure their shit out. If it turns into one giant Muslim nation, or if it turns into 50,000 different little broken up nations, let's let them do their shit, and we'll come in after they're done shooting, and then we'll do business with them. But up until then, fuck them. Build a fence around the Middle East. I don't want a fence on the border. I want a fence. I want a giant fiberglass dome put over the Middle East, and when we stop hearing gunshots, we'll remove it. I don't want people being sent in there.
I thought you were for no borders, Kyle, but you want a bubble there. Okay, guys, let me present this video. Beheaded James Foley is not James Foley. See for yourself. Let's see what
I'm going to mute out. Remind me to come back in.
Yeah, okay. Come back in when we're done. Okay, pretty cool background music. Look, I'm not jacking your video. I'm playing it, living on Planet Z. Do not put a strike on us. We're covering this as
Commentary. By the way, in the Q&A, there's somebody has a request for a video. Do you like?
Oh wait, Q&A. What?
Somebody has a request.
And do you like please play Hot Crazy Matrix? No,
Don't
I
even
can't
say
play
it.
Hot Crazy Matrix. Fuck you.
I hate when they do this. I hate when they do this. That's James Foley. This is ridiculous, but okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, first assessment. Kind of looks like the guy. What do you guys think? Here we go.
Look at his ears, look at his nose. That's the same fucking dude. Why'd you even play this, D-Lake? I'm disappointed in you.
Is that the same guy?
That's definitely the same guy, and I've seen the video where he's talking and stuff. It's him. There's no doubt that's the same dude. The difference is that he's like being...
Same guy, the same reporter was kidnapped twice?
It's the same dude, no doubt. It's the difference. The difference that I see is the difference between you sitting in studio and you if you were out in the middle of the desert, 100 degrees. Like that's him. There's no doubt in my mind.
My neck gets thicker and thicker, and it changes. I mean, the light, the bright sunlight changes my facial features enough that like some photographer person. Just to go back to what like Paul Joseph Watson was saying, where was the big crowd of other ISIS guys? Where was the black ISIS flag in the video? Where were all the people saying Allahu Akbar? Where was that? How come
the audio seemed really clean too?
They just start showing the neck like a blade from Conan the Barbarian that squirts a little blood as you draw it across, and then they just cut video, and then they just show a head on top of a body. Like I can make that in Photoshop in less than 10 minutes.
True, and like the video, I don't know. It does. I could see an argument that maybe like
he does look a little different, but there's no way that it wouldn't be him. Because his family knows if he's home or not, was my point. But I will say that doesn't look a lot like him.
the audio quality was amazing in the original video, which that kind of like sketched me out because I'm looking and I'm like, where's the microphone on him? Because they're out in the middle of the desert and it doesn't look like it's like zero wind. It looks like it's a little, like not like horribly windy, but it looks a little windy.
The audio sounded like it was in studio.
That's more interesting.
Yeah,
that's far more interesting there. Yeah.
The audio quality and the quality of the production of the video was like really, really good. Like, and I'm not saying that good like, obviously this is a horrible thing, but I mean they had really, really good quality. Like they definitely knew what they were doing. Like they had somebody who was like a professional editor, and they had like professional sound. Like that was not filmed on a Handycam and edited in Windows Movie Maker. That was properly edited,
Yeah.
and the sound, it literally sounded like they had lapel mics on, didn't it? But you didn't see them anywhere or anything. It almost looked like it was in a studio, like it was in front of a blue screen or a green screen.
That's what. Can you find it without us getting a strike from some crazy idiot that doesn't know we're trying to compliment?
No, they pull it down massively. You can show pictures of
massively.
it. Yeah.
And if you even watch, I actually didn't even click on it.
I would never go to the Pirate Bay, but if one of you wanted to, I bet you could find it by the time the show was.
Oh, we could definitely find it. We could find it,
but happen on today's live show on my channel.
We'll get a strike for sure.
It.
Yeah, we can't do it, but we can show pictures of it, and like if you look, it looks like it was filmed in a studio. It really does.
Now we're all worried about strikes. Oh, Bo will give me $5,000 to play it. Bo, that's not gonna happen. Okay? Why don't you just get in here, Bo? Someone send Bo the link. But let's talk about the ISIS threat to the USA because it's in all the top major headlines. And look at this. A Marine vet. Let's talk about this for a minute. Marine vet's viral post warning to ISIS. Attack us. There will be no mercy. Let me show you guys the picture. Hopefully we don't get a strike on our account for this.
No pictures.
70, 72 Virgin dating service.
Sam, your computer has this new computer has like a
Just silent.
10-second delay, and so you keep talking over stuff. I think we need to institute a go to Sam rule.
Yeah, Sam, you can't talk unless we say go to Sam.
You have like a 10-second delay.
I
what
hate
are we
this
looking at
abacus.
See? So I'm dealing with you Alright,
Yeah,
what are we looking
it's
at?
my channel. It's my screen on screen share. Warning. 72 Virgin dating service. Apply here. In other words, all you Islamic Muslim mother effers, the guy wrote up a whole big thing about saying, we already fucked you up in Fallujah, we already fucked you up here and there. Saddam forces have already quit and bowed before us once before, twice before. We're the U.S. military. Okay? Your ISIS shit needs to fucking shut down and stop. Maybe Obama doesn't want to go there. He wants to just keep calling it ISIL. ISIL.
Sorry,
The
my
Islamic
bad.
State of ISIL. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, which includes Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Kurdistan, or some other crap, Turkey. I don't know. They just want it all. They want it all. And we're the U.S. forces. And some people say that might be dangerous. And some people, like Dorian Johnson, don't know what the hell is going on, and they lie about Big Mike punching the officer in the eyeball and trying to take his gun. And then running away and saying, put your hands in the air and get down. So, fuck that guy. An hour.
Why is that one guy's face not blocked out? Who's he? Why is he so special?
I have no idea. But what's amazing this week that I saw in the news? Boom! Boom! What's up now, mother effers? Kurds, the Kurdistans, send all female soldiers to fight ISIS. The reason why is hilarious. There you go. Kurdish women are badass. You'll never guess why they're the ones in the front lines against ISIS. Check this out. The Kurds have adopted a rather unique strategy for not only eliminating their targets, but also humiliating them along the way. According to WZ, Kurds are deploying whole units comprised of female fighters to the front line, which has boosted their recruitment numbers. And I've looked this up on a couple different various Business Insider reported on this. This is pretty legit. That giving them a psychological edge over ISIS. Yeah, that's right. One female fighter explained why the Kurds have decided to put women in the thick of the battle, and it's sure to make radical Islamists go crazy. Quote, the jihadists don't like fighting women, because if they're killed by a female, they won't go to heaven.
Is that true?
If you're killed by a female, you're not going to heaven.
Yes, win.
Liberty.
Win.
So does that make them so they're scared to go up against these girls because it kind of takes away, if they do get killed, it takes away the benefit at the end.
Yeah, no virgins for you if you get killed by females. Go to Sam. Sam, are you there?
Win, pussy.
Did he just say
All I heard was
pussy?
pussy. Sam, are you there?
Sam.
Pussy takes away your 72 virgins.
Yeah, your 72 virgins will be gone if you get killed by one of these females from Kurdistan.
That's genius. And so that's making them scared to fight them pretty much?
I keep saying Kurdistan.
Because
right?
you get killed
Where are
by
these Kurds from?
I don't know, cottage cheese.
Scrambled eggs. Dude, oh man, I watched this video about making perfect scrambled eggs. I got the unsalted salt, I got the olive oil, and I'm doing it. I'm doing it on low heat. This shit is, man, I've been making the best scrambled eggs. I've been making Brenner. You guys know what Brenner is?
Yeah, that's breakfast dinner.
Breakfast dinner.
Yeah, it's delicious. I make breakfast dinner.
Your
sometimes.
Brenner.
Sam, I'm going to Sam. Sam, do they have a breakfast buffet at your work?
some of the best food you've ever had was in our kitchen, and then they ended up closing it, which was a travesty because a lot of people came in for it.
Hey, you guys.
It was a really bad mistake to close that because a lot of people came just for it.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that could get me. Like, I've heard of like all-you-can-eat breakfast buffets at establishments like that, and I would go there just for the breakfast buffet.
Oh yes.
All right, D, like, what do you got?
I love breakfast buffet. Guess what? On the Q&A, we have been found on my channel, because I'm sure he was looking for the show today, by Save America's Liberty on David Lake's channel. He says ISIS is a Zionist creation that will be used to suck all nations into the Middle East and create World War III. Kyle, did you get all that?
Yes. Read it one more time.
ISIS is a Zionist creation that will be used to suck all nations into the Middle East.
I would agree that I think that it's
World War III.
I agree with everything except for it being created by Zionists. I don't think that's true. I don't think Israel has anything to do with that. I think it was created by the United States government. I think it was created by the United States government and the UN for that reason.
That's super interesting because Save America's Liberty after that said, "Quit screwing the chicken, Kyle."
I don't think the government created. I don't think the government trained ISIS because they wanted necessarily for this to happen. I think it was more of us foolishly, which we should not have done, creating something that we thought we could control, and it ended up becoming something way beyond our control, possibly underestimating the aforementioned evil. But I don't think it was necessarily meant to be this bad. But that's what happens when you try to create something to destabilize another side. Are we? And again, you have to ask. If done this, then maybe the communist empire would have rolled over. Well, we all know how many people Stalin killed. So looking back, are we better off now with? We did the destabilization, and the Arabs won in that region, and now we're looking at Hamas and ISIS and things like that being deadly. Or if we had not created and trained Al-Qaeda, we had not funded these people, and the communists would have won, and we know how many people Stalin and Mao killed. Would we be better off now if we had never created ISIS and the communists won? Kyle, what do you think?
By the way, that monkey is the communist sound effect from now on.
Yeah. Wait a second, because Save America's Liberty said, "Quit screwing the chicken, Kyle." But Kyle and I and the Media Speaks, we established at the beginning of today's show that every time that someone said ISIS, and every time someone said ISIL,
and now I've decided if you say communist.
So that's what you can expect from our great sound man, our awesome sound man. Thank you, Kyle, so much for joining the show. You're like,
was that a monkey or was that Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I got Fred and Robin on today's show. It's so great. Everyone hit us up in the Q&A, just like Save America's Liberty.
So, Kyle,
it's so fun when you do that.
So, what do you? Which one do you think would have been worse for the world, Kyle?
I think that we should have just. I think that the United States in general should just mind our own business.
No, I don't mean that. I'm just saying hypothetically.
Isolation?
Hypothetically, yeah. If the communists had won, do you think they would be slaughtering more people than ISIS and Hamas and whatnot?
If the communists had won, we wouldn't be having a live hangout right now for multiple reasons. If the communists had won, technology would have ceased, the economy would have gone to shit.
Kyle, let me stop you right there. Top headline of Drudge Report: China tells USA keep your distance.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't click on it.
Yeah, because they have pigs floating down the stream.
U.S. sends second carrier to Asia amid tensions. China's strongly worded statement rejects criticism of jet airliner encounter. Police Las Vegas mentioned as Al-Qaeda target terror. Kyle, you live near Chicago. Update: ISIS threat on Chicago. They're coming
Yeah, I
in,
saw that.
buddy. How do you feel about that, ISIS? We're talking about the ISIS threat to the USA. We already talked about the beheading of Foley mostly, but how do you feel about this whole side column of Drudge being dedicated to update ISIS threat on Chicago? Senator says group developing plan to blow up major city. FBI, Homeland Security sounds like a TV show. Warn police to be on alert. Jumped
Well, they're
Mexican
planning on
border,
blowing up the city. What can the police do if quote unquote ISIS is planning to blow up Chicago? What are the police gonna do? There's the missile. It's coming.
I mean, it was like
Bye, everybody.
It was damn, what's his name? It was just a lawyer who observed the Unabomber or the underwear bomber getting on the plane. That guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he reported it to InfoWars, and it's like, oh, you go to InfoWars for your reporting? Oh. We can't talk to you. Joe Biggs, now you're on CNN? We can't trust that.
Of course not.
Fucking
Because
InfoWars
CNN,
on
Fox
shows.
News, MSNBC, those are all things that we should be trusting.
We should
Those are all
bow
the
down to
serious news
them
networks.
and love the state. Exactly, Kyle. Exactly.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Kyle, can you do me a super special favor and take over the show?
Alright, I'm just going to play a ton of sound effects for a while, though.
We got science.
Just do that for
Hey.
20 minutes.
We got
Yeah.
science.
Oh, yeah, here. Let me get into my other soundboard here.
Give me
Where's
my theme music. Give it to
Where's
me.
that? Where is that?
Stay tuned, people. It's coming. It's coming.
It's time to learn some science. She blinded me with science. So here's Sam with the science front.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to News from the Science Front. We got two of them today. D-Lake was trying to do segments, so we're going to see if we can stretch this out a little bit and give you some interesting news from the Science Front. Stuff.co.nz. Sea plankton found outside International Space Station, Kyle. It's not quite extraterrestrial life, at least that's what they're saying, but scientists have discovered sea plankton growing in space. Russian space officials have confirmed traces of plankton and other microorganisms were found living on the exterior of the International Space Station, ICE, and it appears they've been living there for years. Russian astronaut Oleg Artemev and Alexander Skotvotsov made the discovery after a routine spacewalk around the ISS. Now, for one thing, they do routine spacewalks quite frequently. Why did they just notice this? During which they took samples from illuminators on its surface. Russian agency ITAR TASS reported overnight. High-precision equipment later revealed the presence of microorganisms on the wipes, it says. Space officials claimed that the plankton were not carried there at launch, but are thought to have blown over by air currents on Earth. Do we have plankton blowing above the planet, Kyle? I've never heard of this before. It sounds like a Pinocchio to me. That's what it sounds like. I'm not saying we found extraterrestrial life. I'm saying that we either have or that we're completely wrong about how this got on this ship. It says the particles, invisible to the naked eye, were able to survive in the vacuum of space despite zero gravity, freezing temperatures, lack of oxygen, and cosmic radiation. So I think we need to take plankton and we need to test it to see if it can survive a vacuum, zero gravity, freezing temperatures, no oxygen, and cosmic radiation. We can test this to see if that is even a possibility. You think they'll do it? Probably not. Head of the Russian ISS orbital mission, Vladimir Solovyev, said the results of the experiment are absolutely unique. He said the marine microorganisms were not native to blast-off Kazakhstan and may have been uplifted to the station at an altitude of 420 kilometers. That's what you're smoking, if you believe it. Plankton in these stages of development could be found on the surface currents of the oceans, he said. Maybe. I'd like more testing on it. This is not typical for Kazakhstan, which is listed here as Bake now. It means that there are some uplifting currents which reach the station and settle on its surface. Pinocchio, he said the microorganisms would be studied further. NASA is yet... They didn't even capitalize that. That's funny. NASA has yet to comment on what this might mean for American segment of the ISS, or whether similar findings have been made in the past. Kyle, what do you think of that?
I think that's very interesting. I was just looking up an appropriate image for this. Here we go.
I'm looking.
That's what it makes me think.
Let me see. You got a picture of it. Awesome. All right, guys. I'm doing a two-parter today, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. This is from New York Times. 2 new cases of Ebola stem from indirect contact. Next Saturday, we're going to have Mrs. Sawyer on here, and it's her husband, sadly, that has been mentioned as one of the links to the current Ebola outbreak. This is from Freetown, Sierra Leone. 2 new cases of Ebola were reported in Nigeria on Friday, both in spouses of health workers who died after caring for the Liberian American who brought the disease there last month. The health minister of Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, said more cases beyond the 14 known ones could arise, but thus far are linked to Patrick Sawyer. We're going to have his widow on the show next weekend, friends. A Minnesota resident who was very ill when he arrived at Lagos on a flight from Liberia, and unfortunately he died soon after on July 25th. It goes on that the cases were the first from the second-hand contact of Mr. Sawyer. Let's pause, friends. That's why I'm reporting on it. Don't zone out. Second-hand cases, before it was pigs and getting mucus from their lungs and saliva from their into another pig's cage without being around, without being with the pig. It was through the air, so which made it more communicable. They said that was not usually the case. Well, it looks like it is in a lot of these 14 people, friends. This was the first from the second-hand contact that they know of. Until Friday, World Health officials had hoped Nigeria's outbreak was fading. We are not surprised by this, Dr. Onebuki Chukawa said. Pause number 2, friends. We're not surprised by this. Well, before you said it was very rare, but now you're not surprised by it. So, friends, you know right there that they're letting this story develop, and they're sneaking in these little sentences that you're not paying attention to. The health minister said in a telephone interview, there may be a few more. All these cases are linked to the index case, so the risk is still there. Our fingers are crossed, and that would unfortunately be him. He added that he would be more upset if the disease had appeared in someone who was not linked to Mr. Sawyer, or if one of the second-hand cases had passed it on. 12 people who had contact with Mr. Sawyer in the hospital or in the car that took him there have fallen ill. 2 doctors, 2 nurses, and the driver have died. The death
Oh,
health
Betty,
workers,
that's just awful.
spouses, a man and a woman, are now being treated at Dan Nua, a health ministry spokesman. 5 others have been treated and released. It says Mr. Sawyer apparently caught the disease from his sister, Princess, and we covered that previously.
Right.
Friends, this, again, I don't want to be an over-alarmist or anything here,
you're
but
a big downer on the show right now.
hopefully it'll end up a non-issue in 6 months, but it's not looking good, friends. It's not looking good. So that's your 2-part news from the science front. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, your science and reporting on the science was epic, but I mean, the news they actually covered was a big downer. So it's kind of...
Well, not the plankton. The plankton was kind of cool. The
Plankton is cool.
No, I got a sound bit for you. Here we go.
Cool. I didn't say cool. I just said at the end it's like this Ebola scare and outbreak and the widow we're going to have on. I mean, that's all great. But the news of it, the Ebola itself, is a big downer because, I mean, what the...
Yeah.
All right, we're joined today by Bo. Everybody, welcome to the show. Bo, thanks for being on. Bo apparently got the link.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great, man. Just to recap, we've been talking about Ferguson, Missouri update. Did you have anything on that? We also talked about ISIS threat to the United States. We talked about James Foley being beheaded by a British jihadi John there on a soundstage, possibly. And we also covered Sam's Amazing Science News. Did you have anything to say about any of that? How long have you been watching, and what did you hear, and what do you want to talk about? Bo.
Well, I've been watching since the beginning of the show. Sorry if there's sounds in the background, but no, I mean you guys have touched everything. The new
Where are you?
coming up from Ferguson and stuff. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, where are you right now, Bo? That place looks pretty cool.
Well, I'm actually at my work right now.
Oh yeah, I like it there.
Bo works at an Applebee's. That's the type of stuff, all the stuff on the wall in the booths.
Fridays.
Can I get a bourbon street steak, please, and a side of garlic mashed potatoes? No, Bo. Continue with what you've been seeing in the current headline news. Bo, go ahead.
Well, of course, his best friend he changed his story and stuff. You know that's a huge. And the other video that you guys posted up earlier this week of
That was an accident.
you know the way the body fell and stuff. It was pointed directly towards the police car and stuff. And also there's they had independent coroner, and then they actually had the
You're talking about the execution or the murder or the justified homicide of Mike Brown?
correct. The family had an independent coroner came in, and I think the state coroner completely said that that guy was lying, and it was all make believe and jazz and stuff like that. You guys know anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, so put your hands in the air and get down. That which became a Time magazine cover, and it's just getting really popular. And people in Times Square fill up the square and say, "Get on your knees and get down," or "Put your hands in the air and get down." But that's not the way it happened. I mean, he beat up that cop and tried to take his gun before he got shot multiple times from the front, according to the autopsy. Well, I mean, we covered it last week. You were on the show. I mean, I really appreciated you then and coming on again now. But I mean, what does it all mean? I mean, how did it really happen? And does that affect people rioting in the streets? And why did they riot that first night? Was that a government psyop, Bo?
Yeah, I would have to say they obviously wanted to rile people up and create some sort of a riot and a race war thing,
Mm. And I mean, what day did Al Sharpton go there? He was there pretty right away, wasn't he, Bo?
Yeah, he was
Asking
right.
for money.
Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
Telling the people in the riots to get together and vote and control the majority of the government down there in Ferguson.
Yeah. Then Eric Holder goes there and he's like, I remember when I got pulled over on the New Jersey Turnpike and the cop wanted to search my vehicle because I'm black. It's like, dude.
My favorite was like the chief from the state police who's like, my son is a thug, so
Yeah.
like I don't know what his point was, but he's like, my son wears his pants down all saggy. My son has tattoos and looks like a thug. It's like, okay, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
that's it.
great.
That's all.
When I was a kid, my dad's like, when are you going to stop listening to all that jungle music? When are you going to date a white girl? No, I'm just kidding. No, that happened. Everybody, thanks for letting me host today's show on my channel, David Lake. You can see him in my lower third. I'm David Lake today, representing Captain America and the United States of America. And I've been joined today by Kyle Phillips of The Media Is Here.
Word.
Speaks.com. Also, Sam IBDNG of The Correct Views and the Band Passing Time. And now we've just recently been joined by Bo to hear some of his amazing thoughts and opinions. Right now, I'm ready to shift gears into entertainment mode and wrap this show up in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
Oh, you know, you played that clip last week, and I was like, who is that? I know who that is.
You figured out who that is?
Yeah, it's David Gergen, right? When Alex Jones was interviewing him about.
It's like, I saw you. I snuck into Bohemian Grove. I saw what you're doing out there, and I reported on it.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
That's who I thought it was, but I forgot his name.
David Gergen.
Anything? Well, if we're doing entertainment, I got some
Yeah,
entertainment
what do you got,
news.
Kyle, go first.
Me and Bo are going to see some stand-up comedy tonight.
That is correct, Kyle. And maybe you'll get up on the mic.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll go up there. I'll be like heckling him. I'll be like, "You suck," and he'll be like, "You think you can do? Why don't you take the mic?" And I'll be like, "I will," and I'll get up there and I'll be like, "So what's the deal with airline peanuts?" And everybody's gonna be like, "Ah ha 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 ha, ah ha ha ha." It's gonna be great.
It won't
It's gonna be awesome.
more like, what's the deal with?
Then you'd
No.
go.
I'm gonna.
How?
I'm gonna.
My black brothers at?
I'm gonna be like, why? I'm gonna be like, why do black people always buy Flamin' Hot Cheetos? That's how it's gonna go down. I do want to do an open mic though. I'll do an open mic night. I think that'd be
Are
fun.
you gonna get out on the mic? What's going on?
Yeah, Kyle's. Well, me and Kyle were both talking about. Well, him probably he'd be way funnier about getting on the mic. Maybe at some open night at the same show we're going to.
Yeah, they have open mic nights and stuff, but not tonight. Tonight, who are we going to see? We're seeing I forget his name. Huh?
Godfrey.
I don't think I'd ever heard of him, but it's somebody. Is he a local guy?
He's not really local. He's actually been on a few MTV shows. And
Wait, did you say Gilbert Godfrey?
No,
No,
I would know who that was.
he's actually funny. This is just Godfrey. It's a black guy. He's pretty funny. If you look up some of his YouTube stuff. Wait, D-Lake, don't play a video.
Yeah, D-Lake.
I don't even look stuff up anymore. I'm just like I don't go to my Facebook during the show anymore. You know, just forget it.
Wait, I'm looking him up. Godfrey comedian. This is actually we've already like purchased tickets and we're going to the show, and this is the first time I'm even looking him up. All right.
Just
Let's
like
see.
on that video, where did you do your research?
He was in Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. He was on.
Reeves.
He was on Soul Plane,
Oh.
Law and Order, SVU. Louis. He was on Louis, the show. That's a pretty good show.
Rapper turned actor. What are all these roles?
Well, he was in Louis. He was when Louis went and did a stand-up comp. He did a stand-up show down at the Cellar, which is in New York.
Okay.
He was just kind of another comedian that was there.
He was on 30 Rock. Fat Girls, spelled PH and with a Z at the end.
Can I get a I disrespect you for that?
Here, let me find it.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
Johnson Family Vacation.
This guy's got
He
a
was in Zoolander.
Illustrious.
This guy's famous.
Oh yeah, dude. All those movies, Soul Plane, he was in that too.
Well, Kyle, we kind of got a Groupon, and we wanted to see Joe Coy, and it didn't work out, and I guess we had to see this guy. So.
Yeah.
All right, well there you go.
He looks funny.
A great comedy show. Have you seen anything else good recently?
I was watching I Love the 90s today.
Great show.
I Love the 90s,
It's odd that you
1994.
said,
Okay.
it's odd that you had said stand-up comedians because I got lucky enough to go to Nassau and I got to see the comedian Bluebeard and what's the comedian with I think he's got MS or cerebral palsy, but he's hilarious.
Oh, Sticky
He
Change?
was there as well.
Yeah, that guy. I forget his name. Sticky Change is his special.
They were both there. It was really good. They were
At
really,
NASA,
really
like
funny.
the space place, NASA?
Nassau, Caribbean.
Oh, okay. So not like the place.
Bahamas. Bahamas.
Okay, so like not like the spaceshipy, sciencey place. So that wouldn't make sense.
No,
like
not,
here's a
not,
spaceship
not,
and comedy.
not where the plankton is. No, not where the plankton.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Plankton's not very good at comedy.
And Sam, what have you seen recently or have in entertainment today?
Oh, well, that was the best. I mean, if you ever get a chance to go there, believe me, there's nothing you're going to want to do more. It is simply an amazing, amazing place to visit. And it would be a place that you would want to live at for like months at a time. And much to my happiness, I found out that it cost about $600 a month to live there. Because they don't have any taxes. Anybody who wants to invest in something, the Bahamas don't have taxes, so $1 million is $1 million there, and that's why Chuck Norris and Michael Jordan, people like that, tend to buy houses and real estate out there because there's no taxes there. And again, what's it doing? It's flourishing. Much of that's the view that you get.
That's awesome, Sam.
All right, so yeah, Bahamas sound awesome.
So,
I'm gonna move there.
I've seen a lot of movies recently.
What have you seen?
Oh,
Spider-Man 2.
ones you can talk about, ones you can talk about, not Debbie Does Dusseldorf.
I'd like to play a short clip from The Hot Crazy Matrix featuring Dana McKenzie.
No. Don't do it.
Okay, no, seriously, I've seen a couple good movies. Amazing Spider-Man 2. I watched Sabotage. It was just alright. Spider-Man was pretty good. I felt like I'd seen every scene from the damn trailers and previews, and then I just had to find out what order they went in when I watched the movie. So they totally overhyped that, Sony. You need to pull your shit together. Don't be so loose in the butt with the diarrhea of the trailers, okay? A great movie that I saw, and you guys, I hope you can believe this, Locke, with Tom Hardy.
Locke?
It's called Locke, L-O-C-K-E, with Tom Hardy starring as Locke, Mr. Locke, whatever. He's in the car, driving on the freeway the whole fucking movie.
Sounds like that movie with...
What's
Buried.
it called? Walk?
It sounds like Buried with
It's called Walk?
no, it's called Locke.
Yeah, a movie called Walk about driving. That would I just wouldn't be able to handle that.
No, it's
That'd
called
be too
Locke.
much.
It's a great movie. The guy's driving the whole time. Tom Hardy, Bane.
Don't play the trailer.
I know. I'm resisting the urge to go look it up.
We're on thin ice right now.
I know, we're walking on eggshells, right?
We are, because of certain people who just don't like independent podcasts and YouTubers, even though they are one.
You know,
Which again,
after there's some other videos we might need to go delete, but just like that movie Tusk, I mean, we're podcasters, man. We're podcasters. I've come to accept it. I'm basically a podcaster. That's what I do.
That's what you do. Got to go and interview people in the backwoods of Canada.
I try to resist that. I'm like, no, I'm a video broadcasting specialist. They're like, no, you're just a podcaster. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm a fucking podcaster.
It's easier. It's much easier,
Get a
podcaster.
strike on your YouTube. You're officially a podcaster.
All right, I say we wrap it up. We've gone an hour and 15. Had a pretty good show.
Check this shit out. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on today's special The Media Speaks live broadcast on David Lake's channel. I'm David Lake of TheMediaSpeaks.com, known as D-Lake for Press. Please check out all my amazing graphic videos and all my other super awesome stuff. And I've been posting to TheMediaSpeaks.com and TheMediaSpeaks.com, spelled out on YouTube, for over 2 fucking years. Hey, the video right below this one, I recorded like a year ago. but it's vital and important for you to go watch it. America in its final death throes, I believe. Talking about our friend Matt Winklejohn. We always have amazing guests and superstar amazing people that join us on the show, like Dana McClendon of the Hot Crazy Matrix. Wants $5,000 from our channel to continue, but that's okay, because we'll just broadcast on this channel, or Sam's channel, or Kyle's channel, because like I said, we have gigantic battle cats that form into Voltron, a giant robot. We can do it from wherever the fuck we want. Kyle, thanks again for joining me on today's show. Kyle.
Thank you, and people can find my channel at The Media Is Here on YouTube, and all my stuff is always on themediaspeaks.com.
That's great, Kyle. Thanks again for joining. We were also joined today by super science expert, our super special friend from The Correct Views, Sam IBD Angie. Sam, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, friends. Thanks for having me. Make sure share the videos, get the information out to people. If you hear something interesting or one of us made a great point, make sure you let others know, share it, and that's how the truth gets spread by you. So thanks.
That's great, Sam.
And make sure to go to the Media Speaks DOT.com on YouTube for our upcoming 15-minute long videos.
Yeah.
So it can't be any longer than that. We got in trouble.
Yeah, we got in trouble. All the supers. I want my super sound effects. Oh, here we go. All our videos have to be under 15 minutes now on themediaspeaks.com, where we'll be broadcasting and playing those videos. And cut from today's super amazing show, I'm D-Lake for Prez, reporting to you live on my channel, David Lake. Not the guy playing guitar, I'm the guy with the Captain America shield. Okay, you guys all see that? Everybody have a great fucking day, and thanks again to Kyle and Sam. And of course, you better be on the show next week, or you're going to be in big trouble. Hopefully there's not a nuclear attack.
Massive show.
Kyle can join next week, and God bless everyone, and God bless America. D. Lake for President of the United States of America.